Hello and welcome back to June Meagher, and we're talking the walk today with the wonderful Rob Chapman. Now, many of you know Rob as a hypnotist, and he's the one who's trying to get 1 million people to meditate, which is quite an achievement. You know, it's quite a goal to set yourself, but
just a little bit.
one person at a time. So without any further ado, I'm just going to pass right over to Rob. So how are you doing, Rob? Thanks for joining me today. Where were you born? Were you born in Shropshire? Or?
Yeah. I'm a Shropshire lad, born and bred, Copthorne Hospital, and pretty well on and off. Always ended up back in Shropshire. Kind of love it. So.
And what kind of child were you? Were you quite an inquisitive child, or were you a quiet child, or a wild child, or?
I think I was a bit of a. I mean, I had lots of friends, but I kind of also really spent a lot of time just out and about by myself, and very much into the outdoors, very much into walking, climbing trees, climbing rocks, all that kind of stuff. I was lucky. I grew up kind of in and around Lillishall, so there was the hill there, but then you've also got Lillishall Abbey, and yeah, it was just a wonderful place to grow up. And I'd just go out, and as I got older, would kind of go and start getting into meditation and stuff, and just find little special spots that to me felt magical, and would kind of just go sit in them and read and meditate. And I think my friends were all playing football or something, but I was never any good at that. So
you know, you're saying that still at school, and you know, going out into nature and meditating at a young age. What got you into that? How did you find out about meditation?
Do you know what? I've always, I think it was there's a crux of things that I think finally pointed me in that direction. One was I was quite interested in martial arts. So obviously there's the meditational aspect of that. But then my friend Alex, bless him, for his birthday, the year Ghostbusters came out at the cinema, we all went to see it, and that really kind of, I'd always liked things like ghost stories and that, but that really tweaked something. And between that and interest in martial arts and meditation, that kind of started me looking just at books from the library mostly that were connected to meditation or the supernatural or just alternative things. I mean, I was probably about 9.
Wow, that is young.
Yeah, no, I was joking about it the other day actually. I got asked, somebody said, "Oh, my child's just turned 12," and we were talking about being kids again, and so what were you doing? I was 12, and when I was 12, they opened up the big library at Telford Town Centre, and I was delighted because at age 12, I was going in and getting books on Buddhism, spirituality, and even things like ceremonial magic. And yeah, I don't think there were many people my age that were doing that at the time.
No, I don't think there would have been either. So when you left school, did you go on to study somewhere, or did you get into a job?
I'll be honest, I went to New College and got thrown out after my first year. I realise now that I just didn't have. Initially, I'd wanted to go and do theatre studies in English, and was told that I only needed X amount to do that. And then when I got there, they said, "Oh no, you can't do it." So that I was just instantly not working towards what my heart was in, and I was playing in bands and kind of lots of heavy metal at the time, and playing guitar, and that was where my passion lied. So after the first year, I sat a chemistry exam and basically just wasn't bothered. So I just sat there writing song lyrics on the exam paper, and they called me in and said, "We don't really think you're taking this seriously," and so that was it. So I left there and went to TCAT and did business and finance studies, European business and finance studies. Similar thing, really. The February before the first year finished. It just wasn't where I was at. Music was where I was at the time, and so I actually went in and spoke to them and said, it's not doing it for me. It's not where, and I thought I think you have to have that passion. Well, I certainly have to have that passion in what I do and a connection to what I do. Otherwise, it just doesn't. I can't engage. There's no point. So yeah, so college and school really not. I loved it, but didn't put me in the best place for moving forward in some ways. Certainly not academically.
I can just imagine some of your song lyrics about chemistry. That would have been interesting. So then you've left the college environment. Jobs? Did you find a job, or did you continue?
Yeah, I carried on with music's always been a part of. I love it. It's where my soul sings, and my music is often my prayer and my thanks to the universe for just all of it. And I did different bits of jobs. One which was quite a key role was I spent about 12 months working in jumping between a music shop, which was just great because it was music, but also a kind of new age holistic shop over in Wellington. It's not there anymore. It used to be called Destiny's Gate, and I worked in there for 12 months, which was amazing. I met some amazing and beautiful people during that time, and it introduced me to lots of other things. I mean, by then I was well into a lot of things. I've been looking at a lot of shamanic work, aspects of magic, still meditation, and I was meeting lots of other people who are into other things, from mediums and psychics through to there's a chap, you might even know him, June, connected with the rainbow camps and that, called Oak.
Okay.
I can't think of his name, and I remember him telling me the coming in. We were both in tears in this shop when he came in and told me the story about when he first saw auras, and he was just like, I was in my apartment, my flat, and a friend of mine was in there, and I looked up and suddenly I could see it, and he was welling up at the memory of how beautiful it was for him, and so that was a really cool time, and I kind of that was when I first started going to festivals and meeting people that were out there doing different things spiritually, and got introduced to good old Celestine prophecy around that time as well.
Well, Celestine prophecy, okay, yeah. I read that a long time ago.
Yeah.
After that, the shops. So what did you do? Leave the area, or go on?
No. I bought a house. I was with someone and I bought a house, and I was still working. I was working at, where was I? True Print or Fruit of the Loom, and I had a bit of a spiritual crash, a bit of a dive, and actually that's a bit of an under exaggeration. The complete rug and foundations were pulled out from under what I had been building up, and people I'd put, as you do when you're young, put on pedestals, think they should know all the answers and be better, and it all kind of fell to pieces quite quickly within a couple of months. And I really was just like Merlin lost in the forest, really, that madness after the battle. And it was during that time I was working at Fruit of the Loom. It was not knowing what the hell I was going to do. I had this feeling, this calling, this something inside, and I ended up going and speaking to, what's his name, a vicar called David, who'd done the christening at my cousin's kid's wedding. And he'd said at the end, I'm not here just if you believe in God and the church. He said, I'm just here to serve my community if ever you've got a problem. And he just popped into my head. I'm like, God, I've got a problem. I'm going to go and see him. And for about 6 months, he kind of mentored me, lent me some amazing books that you'd never expect. Well, I at the time didn't expect to be coming from a Church of England vicar. And I almost went on retreat to start the process of signing up to be a vicar, and had this little echo in the back of my head that just said, that's not quite where your path lies. And I'd been looking at a lot of the pagan stuff at the time, and I decided I would look there one more time And because music was such a part of my life, I kind of remembered having seen something for the Order of Bards, Ovates and Druids. And I thought, Bards, that's music. And that's one of the ways I express my connection. Wonder what that's about. And that started a completely new chapter in my life. And I went down, I joined the Order and went down after about 12 months and met my tutor down in Cornwall. I was on holiday and he said, oh, pop round. And it was a make and break moment for me, because this guy, unless he seemed genuine, it would, if he hadn't have been a genuine person, it would have just at that moment, I think, just stopped that path for me there and then. It was a real testing point. And he was amazing, him and his wife, Barry and Kate. And I went, just spent an evening with them. And during that time, I mean, yeah, that meeting really reshaped the direction of my life. During that time, we talked. I had the smallest little glass that I've ever drunk out of sloe gin, and he asked me what I really wanted to do, and it was the first time I'd ever really been asked that question. And what did I want to do? And he helped me piece together. He looked the part, by the way. He was an old retired teacher with long grey hair and a ponytail and stuff, and he really helped me explore where I was at and what I really wanted to be doing. And so I got back and I went into care work, working with troubled, kind of last chance teenagers, kind of some of them exceedingly violent and stuff. But I loved it. And during that time, I discovered counselling and started that journey of training to be a counsellor. And then, yeah, that was quite a time of change and refocusing for me, I think.
Wow. So you, how long did you work with the teenagers for? Was that a long-term job, or did you?
I did that for 4 or 5 years. I did that for. It was one of those jobs, because of the extreme nature of it at some times. I mean, there were times where we were barricaded into the staff room whilst the kids were trying to get in with iron bars. So it was, you know, it was quite intense sometimes. And I always said to myself, for my own well-being, and also for the well-being of the children I was looking after, the day I wake up and I don't want to do this is the day I stop. And the person I bought the house with, we split up, and I almost stopped then, but my good friend Colin, who was my team senior, he talked me into going in. I was glad he did, because I ended up doing another 12 months. And I literally, the one day I was driving in, beautiful drive from Telford End up through Much Wenlock and up to Ludlow that way. And I just came around this one corner and something in me just went, I can't do this anymore. And so that was it. I pulled in on the side of the road, phoned them up. I said, look, I'm not coming in. And I spoke to my senior again, and he said, you mean it this time? And so there was never a problem. I've always got like amazing references and stuff from them. And I did bits of that in the meantime afterwards, but then I went down to Devon, lived in Devon for a while, which was more of a whim without much of a plan, which did, it was good fun, but it didn't really, yeah, it was an adventure rather than a long-term thing in the end. And then after that, I was travelling up to one of the summer gatherings at Glastonbury for the Order of Bards, Ovates and Druids, and that weekend I met someone, and that kind of kicked off a whole new area of journey. I spent 12 months living in Croydon, then back up to Shropshire, and then over into Llansilin, just over the border there, beautiful place. And that's when things really started moving and shaping again for me. I was working, at the time I was working, I did lots of bits and pieces when I first got there. I worked for a local farm driving, and decided I was going to commit back into the counselling training. So I did 4 years training to be a Person Centered Counsellor. And during that time I went self-employed doing music, because it gave me plenty of time to work on the course and training as well. And I know, yeah, 4 years of training to be a counsellor, and at the end of it I decided to be a close-up magician, which was kind of a crazy thing. But I'd had an opportunity come up. A storyteller friend knew it was a hobby of mine, and said, "How do you fancy going on a Harry Potter theme tour?" So I started in where did I start off with? Fort William and up around that area. Travelled around the Highlands of Scotland with 300 crazy American Harry Potter fans, doing magic for them all over. I'd never done anything like it in my life, and ended up hosting a banquet in Edinburgh Castle. I mean, you know, I think if the universe goes, "Do you want to do this thing?" and you go, "Wow," then you're a fool if you don't. And so I just went for it. And my friend on the way back on the train goes, "It was great. How long have you been a professional performer?" And I'm like, "I've never done this before." So, but also during that time, I went into close-up magic, which I still do bits of now, not as much, but for a good part of 20 years, that was kind of my staple life, festivals and weddings and things. But during that time, I'd done my counselling training, and part of the reason I'd wanted to do that was I'd started running workshops and retreats, some up at Llanrydder, or others dotted around Shropshire. And I wanted to make sure if I was taking people through spiritual experiences and weekends and stuff, I wanted to know how to look after them. I wanted to make sure that if something came up for them, if they had a wobble, then I could look after them in that moment. But also, I've been on a lot of things where you go, you have an experience, it brings all this stuff up for you and go, "There you go, you've paid for the weekend, now go away." And that's it. And there's no after support. And I wanted to do it differently. I wanted to, if I'm creating that space where people are allowing themselves to be vulnerable and open, I want to make sure they have all the support afterwards to face and deal with anything that comes up for them. Because quite often, as you know, it's not in the moment of the experience that the real work happens. It's later on, as you integrate that experience into life, that stuff can really come up. And so I was doing that, and I got asked to run all the workshops and ceremonies for the Order of Bards, Ovates and Druids for a couple of years for their winter and summer gatherings, which is like 300 plus people from around the world all descending on that, which was great. Got asked to do stuff for other camps, ran some fire labyrinths, different workshops, got asked to go over to Europe and do some workshops and run a retreat weekend and things, and had a lot of time, a lot of fun. But then when Wendy and I split up, I kind of stepped out of it all and just carried on with my performance, doing music. And underpinning this as well along the way, I'd also been reintroduced to hypnosis. I first kind of got into that one again when I was about 9 or 10 from a book from the library, and a kind of friend of mine said, "Oh, you've got to look at this new stuff that's coming out. It's all about street hypnosis and being able to just literally, like David Blaine did with card magic, walking up to people on the street and going, 'Hi, I'm a hypnotist. Let me show you something,' and just going straight into it there and then." So yeah, so that was kind of a crazy part of life. And then somewhere along the way, I got married. There's a lesson to be learned actually in that, in as much as neither of us could remember the proposal because we were at a May Day celebration and everyone had had a few beers. I woke up the next morning by this campfire and people go, "Oh, congratulations, congratulations." I go, "Thanks. What are you on about?" And it turned out that during the night, I'd proposed and gone on a mission to find milk for Rose's dad, who, bless him, had got indigestion, and he'd said yes, but rather than going, "Well, we were drunk, that was a really silly thing to do, wasn't it?" and calling it all off, we ran with it. So needless to say, it was never really destined to go as, yeah. But it was a wonderful time. It was a wonderful time. And during that, I addressed some other areas of study and spiritual work that I'd wanted to look at kind of within the craft and that area of things. And yeah, but then after that, I again did the kind of Merlin Lost in the wastelands and spent 3 or 4 years just drifting. I was working, still performing. I'm not actually sure how I kept that going at times. Looking back, it was not the healthiest part of my life. But out of that came the idea. I really missed doing retreats. I really missed stepping into that space where you hold people and give them that space to be who they are, to be vulnerable, to be angry, to be just the beautiful human being that they are. I missed that so much, and it started calling me. And that's when I really started picking it back up and studying again, and that led me into, I went and had coaching with one of the country's top hypnotists, which pretty well like blew out every penny I owned to go and do that. And during that point, I'd been performing for God knows how many years by that time, but he turned around and went, by the way, you're not really a performer. And you're just like, whoa. He said, no, you should be teaching. You're a teacher, you're a guide, you're somebody that shows people the way. And I thought that, because even back when I was doing all the retreats in the past, the idea of being a teacher and help in that sense really kind of, I guess I didn't want that responsibility. I didn't feel I deserved that responsibility. And so I very much had avoided, used to tell people off, oh, you're a great teacher. No, I facilitate this. And I kind of, spent a few years resisting what he'd said and kind of, no, I am a performer. But he said, you're a great performer, but you're not a performer. You can use all those skills, all those things you've got in teaching and in performance and use that within your teaching. You have a way of addressing and connecting with people. You have this, that, and the other. And that really pulled so much of my life. And it still is doing into a coherent understanding of kind of my purpose and why I'm here and what I do. And I love it. I look back and I mean, there's been other things. I ended up running a pub by accident for a while. I ended up living out on the coast. Literally, if you walked 50 foot in that direction, you would drop off the cliff. So there's been other jobs and other things I've done along the way, which have, like the being out by the sea, just gave me that was when I really found myself again, found that peace within me. And that was a beautiful time. And I also consumed everything Paulo Coelho had written. I'd always avoided his stuff before, and then I found one of the books, read it, and within the next, I think, month, had bought and read pretty well everything else he'd done. But it all helped steer in, all helped focus me in. To the point that, and even lockdown, which could have been a disaster, has really just connected me with whatever that has always been. It's been there. My mum always says when I was 5 I wanted to be a vicar. There's always been something there, and whatever that is it's beautifully finding a new expression at the moment, and I love that.
So now you're still doing your teaching. You've taken a lot of your teaching online and your meditations online as well. For anybody watching this, what's the best sort of website to look for you? How do people find you?
I have 2 websites. One is just very simply www.robchapman.org.uk, and the other one is quite a simple one to remember, is all the W's, spiritualcoaching.org.uk.
Because you offer both those sides, don't you? You offer the hypnosis, you offer the meditation, you offer the spiritual coaching.
Yeah,
and
very much so.
All of that's now able to be done online, is it?
Everything. I'd wanted to do it, and people kept telling me it was possible, and then we went into lockdown. I had to discover fast that it was possible, and I find some people with the hypnosis can be like, "Oh, I'm not sure about that online," but it works just as well. And at the end of the day, part of the thing with hypnosis is you want focus, and most of us are used to focusing at a screen. So half the job's done with that. And I'm finding I mean, it's always nice when you're actually in the same space as someone, obviously, but I'm doing group work, I'm doing individual work, same with the coaching, same with the meditation, and running workshops again now online, which is, I just did one last weekend, which was divine meditation, which was all about connecting to either whatever your concept of the higher self or God is, through meditation and gaining learning and insight and growth through it. And yeah, I'm really loving actually being able to do this. And of course you end up working with people from all over the world rather than just like your locality as well. So it's really opening things up doing it online.
I think this is a wonderful opportunity, isn't it? COVID, it's a wonderful opportunity for anybody who then looks, you know, and particularly for therapists of that. I know that you've got the one-to-one like massage or healing but you know, if you can take your stuff online, it's opening up a whole new world to people outside of their immediate environment and area. And I think that has to be a good thing, because you're on a mission to teach 1 million people meditation.
I woke up. This is a little bit like the waking up one morning and realizing you were engaged. It was wake up one morning ago, and literally the first coherent thought that popped into my head was, I really want to teach 1 million people to meditate. And I'm not charging. That's the thing. The other things, but I'm not charging for this. It's my gift, my service back. And I was like, right, how on earth do I do that? And so we've got a Facebook group, and anyone can join the Facebook group.
What's it called?
And it's called I Meditate. That's it. I Meditate, and there's a big picture of a pretty eye with it, so you can't miss it. And
I Meditate is all together, isn't it?
It is capital I, capital M.
Yeah, I Meditate.
And in there, that's the main hub of it. And in there, I do when I first started off, I did a lesson every night for 7 nights. All the lessons from the past 3 months are still in there. I think there's about 50 hours worth of meditation instruction. If people get stuck on any area, I'm doing free 15-20 minute one-to-ones just to help them pass that block. I'm doing people mention stuff, so I do little off-site videos. All the stuff's on there, and it goes also the links using Zoom for the 3 live sessions. So I do a Tuesday night and a Thursday night and a Sunday midday session. So we're doing all that. It's then also available on YouTube. Unfortunately, there's not enough followers on that just yet to actually give the YouTube channel a title. So it's a string of like, I don't know how many zeros and ones and whatever at the moment. But you can find it. I think it comes up under, weirdly, I Meditate 5. But again, you'll see the I, which is the logo that I've used. It's also available via Thinkific, and on that you can download the audios, so you can listen to it on audio. So it's getting out there. And also there's an app which is being developed, which is wonderful, called Omnipresence. Real great guy called Chris developing that, and he really loved I Meditate, so we're available on the Omnipresence app as well. So it's getting there. I think we're heading to, out of the 1 million people, I think there's about 500 people engaged with it so far. So but you know what? That's 500 people that 3 months ago weren't connected, weren't in, you know, and some people are more active with it than others.
And others will tell people as well. Those 500 will tell people, that's it. And then it'll be 2. And it's amazing how fast these things grow, isn't it, really? Yeah.
And because that's it, I don't know 1 million people. So it really, I should do, I will. But yeah, the idea is that I say to people, come in, do a couple of the sessions first. And just because you've there's 3 months worth of stuff there, but just because if you came in today, it doesn't mean you have to get through all that before you can do the live stuff. Just plug in with the live stuff and work through the videos, and you'll catch yourself up eventually. But I usually say to people, do the first couple of sessions, and then when you get a feel for it, I don't want you recommending this. if you're not benefiting from it. Because I want the people that, and I do say to people, you know, engage with this, work it at your own pace, do contribute, do comment, do share your experiences, be part of it. And people that just sit on the periphery and we never hear from, I do slowly and quietly just filter out, because I just want people in there that really want to benefit from it. And the idea is, you know, who knows, maybe part of that I meditate journey is I ask other people to open up, I would take them and teach them, and then they open up an I meditate free thing that they do, even if it's just once a week or something. I still have no idea how that million happens. I just know I can do it.
Oh, no, I think it's wonderful. I think it's a great initiative from you as well, because, you know, I think especially at the moment with so much uncertainty, I think, you know, any sort of meditation, especially a free meditation for people that have never tried it before, you know, and I'm sure there may be people watching this that's never tried it before and thinking, I don't want to sort of sit in the lotus position, you know, it's going on, and maybe have absolutely no idea. So just to come along and have a look at maybe one of your videos or join in one of the live classes.
Yeah,
it's fantastic. It's a brilliant opportunity for them to just come in and see what it's about and see if it's for them. Yeah. And, you know, sometimes I say to people, you know, even the first time, you might think, oh no, it might put you a wee bit out your comfort zone. But I always say, go back again, because it'll not be as uncomfortable the second time, because you know what to expect.
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly. And I mean, there's a lot of people that in the first lesson, I asked people to say, what would be your dream meditation? If you could fantasize your ideal meditation session, what would it be? And what has got in the way? And there's a lot of the people that have come in have said, oh, I've tried meditation, I've done it, and it doesn't work for me. I can't get into it. I can't do this, can't do that. And I'm not just saying this, you can kind of go in the group and see the comments. All the people that started off by saying, I can't do this, I can't focus my mind, I can't shut my head off. All those people have got past those blocks. Well, every single person that has engaged with it has gone, I'm doing so much more now. It's really helping me. It's really benefiting me. I didn't think I could quieten my mind. Well, don't try to. You think, you're human. You just got to not pay any attention to it. Just observe it. And because of the hypnosis side of it, I'm able to bring in techniques and aspects from self-hypnosis and hypnosis to help people get through, because at the end of the day, meditation and hypnosis and self-hypnosis are all about the mind, working with the mind. And so there's little techniques you can bring in from other areas that help people get past those blocks. You know, the biggest one
I think you're doing a wonderful job, Rob. I really do. So anyway, I've got to just say a huge big thank you.
Oh, thank you.
And I'm hoping that I'll see you really soon. Not seen you for a while, so I'm hoping that we will see each other soon.
Yeah,
and just to say again, thanks for being honest and sharing, you know, your walk with us through to how you are now. And all the links to your websites will be with this video up on YouTube. Yeah. So thanks very much, Rob. Thank you.
That's a pleasure.
Take care now. Thank you.